Hi, everybody. I'd like to share my experience with taking Amanita Muscaria. Just some background: I did not consume the whole mushroom or a part of the whole mushroom itself, nor did I take a grounded up version of caps or anything like that. I took an extract from a gummy. I could post where I purchased these from. I don't have any affiliate links or anything, but just be aware that the effects of any of these things varies tremendously from person to person. So, this company I bought these from, some people rate them 1 star, does nothing, others 5 stars, and anything in between. And it really depends. Like with me, like with edible cannabis, I get psychedelic experiences from those, no matter how big or small the dose. And this is, from what I've learned, is dependent on your genetics. Some people make more of those compounds when the liver comes in contact with those cannabinoids from the edible, and some don't. And just everybody reacts differently. Like I've known people who get sleepy and just want to go to sleep after an edible, a cannabis edible. Some people get silly, some people it does nothing, and I tend to get full blown, really heady psychedelic experiences, which, as it turns out, Amanita was more like that to me than psilocybin mushrooms. So one thing I got out of this, just as an overall feedback, and there's a spirit of the mushroom that shows you things and teaches you things, is that Amanita is controversial because a lot of people just eat the whole mushroom and get sick. And Terrence McKenna talks about his experience where I think he was in the hills of California, and he ate a dinner plate sized cap of Amanita, and he just got sick to his stomach, and he basically went blind for a few hours, and he wasn't sure what to do, wasn't sure how to get help. And it's potentially toxic and has some toxic compounds in it. So the folklore around Amanita muscaria, right, is there's a shamanic knowledge about where they grow and when they grow and how they're prepared, right? They're boiled to eliminate the toxins, or some shamanic cultures have been known to drink the urine of reindeer that have consumed the amanita, because the liver of the animal processes out the bad stuff, right? So what I got from this whole experience, just kind of encapsulating the whole thing, was actually the synthetic preparations, like what I had in the form of gummies. That's what you want to take, because that's doing a better job than the shaman preparations of old ever could. Like, we can do better in labs to extract the compounds you want and none of the ones you don't want. So this, it seemed to be purified. There's muscimol, which is sold over the counter as a sedative. Apparently, muscimol by itself is sedating. This I took had some muscimol in it, I assume, but there's also the muscarine and muscazone and the ibotenic acid, which is believed to be the most psychedelic or psychoactive portion of the mushroom. But I didn't get sick. So just just to know, like, really, you could do your best to prepare a whole cap or the real deal, but actually the lab does a better job at extraction and purification than any of these boiling and attempts at timing the growth cycle and reindeer pee and all that stuff. So anyway, I took two of these gummies and laid down, and about hour and 45 minutes in, 2 hours in, I started to experience a shift that I called a weighting of thought, which is hard to describe because we always have thoughts most of the time. But in our daily lives, our thoughts are not weighted as heavily. And unless you've experienced an alternative to your daily life, you wouldn't really know what I mean by that. But I've experienced this on edible cannabis, and this was very similar, which is that right now you're sitting in a room, you're having thoughts, but your thoughts are rated as kind of having a lower importance. They're not perceived as real as your waking life, as your sensory input. And there's a shift that occurs where your realm of thought becomes the real thing, and your waking life is the kind of the afterthought, or not weighted as heavily, or not as real, not as regarded as important. So barreling through my consciousness, my mind's eye, and also at the periphery of my real vision were these endlessly moving fractal dimensions of reality, but they weren't separate from my real life. My real life was actually interwoven and an expression of that. And that started to take over, and I kind of bargained with it. I said, but I only took, so much. And then the voice of the mushroom, which was kind of this female voice, it was a feminine voice with kind of a somber emotion to it. It was almost like a longing and kind of sad. And the response was, did you think you could touch a particle of eternity without going all in? Like that was really kind of heavy, right? That these molecules are particles of eternity. They have an eternal consciousness, and that really started to overwhelm me. So I kind of freaked out. I woke up. I wasn't asleep. I just got up and I went to the bathroom to put some water on my face and try to collect myself a little bit. And immediately I was being shown things that my life was an expression of thought, and it was showing me things kind of I'd always wanted, like meaning in life. Like, does life have meaning? I was always asking myself this. I like to watch and read a lot of Jordan Peterson and explore this, and I believe that life has meaning. And I was being shown that every object and everything I interact with in my life was an expression of meaning, that this universal consciousness, or God consciousness, you could call it, is cycling back to me expressions of thought forms that are manifesting in physical objects, and the things that I do are almost of this mythical importance, personal mythical importance. There's meaning in absolutely everything. And that became overwhelming. So none of this was shown to me in a kind way. None of it was shown gradually or gently, or with the heart of a teacher to present things in a way that might not be frightening or overwhelming. It was just barreled at me, rapid fire, boom, 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 boom. So like, if you could, it's hard to describe, but I could still function perfectly fine in the physical world, but my vision had narrowed to like tunnel vision. And these fractal patterns were coming in at the periphery of my vision and manifesting and creating my physical vision. And I'm seeing this happen, right? So my experience was that my physical life was just this self-imposed creation for the purpose of learning and experiencing things in this illusory matrix-like environment, as well as time. The function of time is so that you can go and experience things in this linear fashion, but reality is not that. It's just totally contrived. So there's a lot of this that I drew parallels to, like intellectually, we know of certain writings, about Maya, that we're stuck on the wheel of Maya, and it's kind of something we feel we have to experience, but Maya is usually written about as being kind of prison-like. Like, the goal is to liberate yourself from that and kind of transcend that. And that was very much the experience I was getting, is I am stuck. This is not a real life. I'm imprisoned in this life, but I don't know what the alternative is. It's not like there's some area of stability or some bedrock that alternate reality I could step into. So it was just a horrifying kind of a realization. It was a lot like, you know how in the Matrix, like let's imagine you're living your life and then someone pulled you out of the Matrix and you saw from the outside what it really was. And what it really is that's not your real life at all. You're just plugged into a simulation. And the film did a great job of that because Neo has a meltdown. Neo freaks out. And that's very much the position I was in, is that I'm just kind of, my real life is not this, that my real life is this eternal thing, as I'm this incorporated part of this greater fractal reality where time does not exist. It's just kind of a timeless space, transcends space and time. And I've somehow, I've put myself into this illusory time loop, self-manifestative, but meaning-based reality. And so here I was, right? And there's kind of a tone to the mushroom, like you wanted meaning, it's all meaning, and I found myself clinging to meaninglessness. It's kind of interesting, right? Well, if I really saw the truth of it, maybe I took comfort in the fact that, objects and things in the material world just kind of seem to be more just purely physical and not have all of this meaning, and they're actually expressions of a higher mind. And so there was also knowledge that was coming along with this, and an understanding. It wasn't just what I was seeing and experiencing, but also an understanding that the mushroom, you consume a mushroom that is of a psychedelic quality, you're consuming a neuron of an intergalactic mind. So it's the mushroom itself is not really, it does have an individual consciousness, but that's just like you're eating a neuron of a fractal infinite consciousness, an intergalactic mind that transcends space and time. So the onset was very rapid. The peak was very brief, maybe just 15, 20 minutes of peak. And then it wore off just as fast. By 2 hours after that, it was completely gone, and I was just back to normal. I had some, during that come down, the psychedelic realizations and that knowledge and the heady part of it, that subsided, and I felt some great things like energy in my body. If you've ever done Kundalini yoga, you can get these great internal electrical feelings, elevated mood, and I'm just like feeling energy go up and down my spine and in my digestive system, and that felt really, really good. So just like I would not compare this to psilocybin at all. All my experiences with psilocybin have been that there's a teacher spirit in the mushroom, and it's there to heal. At least this is how I know people have, I know people have had bad trips on psilocybin. I never have. It's always been like, okay, this is what we're going to work on. This is how we're going to heal you. This is how we're going to heal your perspective on life, your body. It has the heart of a teacher, and it has that very friendly, non-heady, not heady at all. And by heady, I mean like, there are certain psychedelics that get in and start diddling your thought processes and commingling with your thought processes, and really like making you question like how much of myself are my thoughts, and really causing these ego crises, right? Terence McKenna expressed his distaste for those kinds of experiences. He said, I'm paraphrasing, he preferred to be himself and then just be shown things like outside of himself. And again, I haven't met a lot of people that, I had a couple friends that had like these really heady psychedelic experiences on edible cannabis, but it was a lot like that. Like when I do that, you consume that, I get these it's really like headspace. It's a lot of my thoughts and are being commingled with teacher thoughts, and I'm not really sure. and I should just, distant. I am not my thoughts, but my thoughts are being weighted really heavily, like my thoughts are the real thing, and then I'm being shown things, and it's the differentiation between the experience and headspace is really not there. The lines get really fuzzy, and Amanita was more like that. The only exception was that the Amanita was more intense, more direct, more visceral, and I had total control over my physical body. I wasn't confusing like physical reality with something else. I could still walk, go in the bathroom, shut the door. I could still function. With edible cannabis, it's kind of, you might get a little silly or start acting out or just not really losing inhibition or losing control. That wasn't the case. And so with the Amanita onset, it was stronger on a smaller amount, and rapid onset, more intensity, no blurring the lines between physical and that, but a lot of insight and a lot of visions into that. And I could see both realms and how the realms are interacting, but it's not like I lost touch with the physical at all. So I got brave enough to take some more, but I take a fraction of one gummy, and and again, not everyone might have the same sensitivity to it, but I take 1/32 of one gummy, which is barely a little bit enough to hold, and that actually I discovered it is dose dependent. So that I get some of the nice Kundalini feelings, some of the nice energy feelings, and the mood boost, and none of the psychedelic effects. So I'm trying to kind of work my way up very carefully. But it was overall, I can't say it was pleasant. That it was insightful and interesting, and to me was very real. It was very real information. It appeared to be like I'm witnessing a very, very real thing about existence, my existence, and reality as a whole. But it was definitely not shown to me in a compassionate, calm way. It was pummeled into my experience in a very overwhelming, tremendously frightening way. Kind of a merciless, you're in for the ride, roller coaster ride kind of a thing. And I've seen YouTube videos of people having completely different experiences on Amanita. It's so interesting how varied it is, and depends on, I'm sure, what you've taken, and is it the natural thing with the preparation, or is it a synthetic extraction of Amanita. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this, and if you've had like experiences, I would love to read those. So anyway, have a great day, and thanks so much for watching.